welcome back to my Daily Dose with Tim. Today is Season 2, Episode 28, and we are Part 6 into 5 ways to financial freedoms in 5 years or less. And so this part has been getting a lot of comments and questions, and I love it because this is really what this is really meant to be. However, I understand that usually when that Facebook Live thing is happening, not everybody is tuning in live as well. And not everybody's actually following my page. So if you can make sure that you are following my page, I don't know where you're watching this on, because I understand a lot of people have been sharing this in various groups and various pages as well. So just make sure that you come back and find my page. And I think I set it up so that it says facebook.com/TheTimTai, and that's it. So it makes it super easy to find. However, a lot of questions that I want to address, and one of the biggest ones today, honestly though, is the fact that you guys are asking, so it seems like really at the end of the day, we're still buying and then holding properties. So why can I not do that right now? So that's the fun part about all of this. And if you're asking that question, I love it, because that really shows me that you're actually looking at all of this through a critical view. And that's really what my hopes are when I'm producing these videos and the content that I'm sharing with you, simply because of the fact that I'm not teaching you to go out there and line up and buy a pre-sale condo or go out there and buy something new and pretty, because that's not what this is about. If you're going to buy something new and pretty, I hope that you are the builder and the developer for that project, because that's actually where the money is. And speaking of money, that's what this whole topic really is about. It is ultimately showing you how you can elevate your financial education, your financial literacy, and as a result, your financial well-being and your financial security using real estate, okay? So what I really want to keep coming back to is really the basics. Mindset, honestly, is everything. And when it comes to money, money mindset is even more important. Why? Simply because of the fact that most of us were not taught up learning about money. I don't know about you, money was never really a great subject at the dinner table or during family gatherings. And if anything, it wasn't even spoken at all. I mean, I'm from an Asian culture, and maybe a lot of you guys are aware of the fact that during Chinese New Year's, as youngsters, we actually get something called the red envelopes from our elders. And within the red envelopes, we find money in there. So in the Western culture, it's kind of like receiving presents and gifts for Christmas, for example. That was our version, and that was about it. Money was never really talked about. However, it is definitely a tool for gestures, for exchange, for a lot of different things. The point is though, and this is what's really funny, is that I oftentimes joke when you're actually getting financially educated and you're only about 18, 25, even 30, for example, that actually makes it somewhat easier most of the times. And I really don't want to offend anybody. And if you're offended, I'm sorry. And I'm not sorry, because it is true. Because if you're younger versus somebody who's got a lot more life experience, let's put it that way, you tend to be a lot more set in your ways, in a lot of the ways you think and your perspectives. And this is why the majority of the content, honestly, I'm hoping is also helping you and giving you the chance to take a full examination of how you view money, how you view credit, how you view investing, how you even view this particular vehicle that we've been showing you, which is real estate. So again, if eventually what we are doing is to still hold properties, and I'm just going to tell you that's not exactly true, I will narrate that in a little bit as well. Why do we have to learn and do all these things in between? Remember, what we're talking about here is financial security, financial independence, financial freedom. Like, that's what we are ultimately discussing here. So what we're really showing you here is the fact that, you know what? Yes, in the end, you want to control something. You might want to own something, and you want to hold on to something, because there's this saying that we keep sharing with you, and I'm pretty sure this has come up quite a few times as well now, is the fact that we buy and sell so that we can create the capital that we need. Because with capital, we can continue to grow and roll that as well. And it doesn't have to be yours, okay? By the way, it doesn't have to be yours. And once we've done the buy and sell to grow the capitals, then we can do the buy and hold to create the long-term wealth. However, I want you to remember this. The wealthy actually, for the most part, does not own much, okay? The biggest word here is, let's substitute hold with control. Okay? It's about controlling revenue and income generating assets so that in the long term, you can actually pass whatever it is in your portfolio down. Because right now we're just talking about real estate. However, in general, we're talking about any sort of instruments and vehicle and tools that you can use to build your financial wellness over time, okay? And so that being said, today I'm just going to share with you one of the very, very, very basic ones, because many of you who are asking those questions, I've had some conversations with you separately as well and in private. And so I'm not going to name names once again. However, you shared with me, you know what, you've got 5 properties, single family homes, and a couple of them are condos, and some of you said all of them were condos, all of them were pre-sale purchases. However, if you were in some of the major markets worldwide, you've probably done okay, especially leading up to COVID happening, okay? And so I want to share a story with you simply because of the fact that one of our very first private investor in our very early days, they were doctors, and they were high income earners, and they were in their late 40s as well. And by the time I met them, they had amassed a portfolio of not a whole lot, including their own personal property. They had 8 properties in total. And now you might be thinking, well, with their income level, they probably could have bought more. Yes and no, because that's the problem that most of us run into. We plateau, especially when you don't have the network nor the financial education to go beyond what the banks tell you you can and cannot do, first of all. Second of all, because they are doctors, they were trained on a lot of fancy medical terms and procedures and saving lives, which is very important work as well. However, they understood the fact that financially, they still really didn't have a lot of idea of what they were doing. However, they were ahead of the pack. Instead of putting money away into registered funds and savings accounts, they knew that they had to buy assets. And so what that really meant is that they amassed a portfolio of 8 properties, minus the one that they live in. So they had 7 rental properties. And all of their properties were nice executive homes. And so when I actually first met them, they were one of those people that were, again, despite the high income, they would actually consider them asset rich but cash poor. And so this is the whole point, is that most of us, if we just focus on the earned income bucket, the more we earn, the more we spend. And this comes back down to mindset. Even though they had the good sense of stashing some money away to continue to buy properties, what was happening was, because of the properties that they were buying, they were great, beautiful, amazing executive homes, as I said. What that really meant is that they overspent on getting into the market, buying those properties, and as a result, the market rental yields did not actually serve them well. When I first started having conversations with them about how we build our portfolio, how we run things, and at the time, I was actually not even 30 years old yet. And here I am talking to somebody who's 20 years older than me, who makes a lot of money. I was intimidated. I was totally intimidated. However, I quickly found out that they had 7 properties, and every single one of them was in the negatives, was in the red every single month. And so despite the fact that they made good money, a big chunk of the doctor's income had to go in and not only debt service their pity payment, and they didn't really have a lot of time and freedom. However, they were trapped in the old school mindset. It's like, well, it's real estate. Let's just wait for 10, 20 years, and then we'll wait for the big paydays. And so, long story short, what happened was the fact that, and to this day, they still thank me for actually restructuring or helping them rejig their portfolio. That's kind of how we talk, funny enough. And so what really happened was that after learning about this portfolio, I started to share some strategies with them, because one of the things that I realized was that they really did not and never had the desire to become landlords. So I floated the idea of doing property management. However, obviously, in the back of my mind, I already knew that it didn't really quite make sense, because if it's already not cash flowing by them self-managing, it's just gonna be even more of a headache financially for them as well. So that was going to not be a way to do this. And so very quickly, just because these were nice homes, what I was able to do was to slowly convert their tenants into tenant buyers using the lease option strategy. And so that we had a at the time, 2 to 3 year plans to liquidate or to sell every single property to the tenant buyers. And then they would be able to take out their equity in those properties. And what they decided to do was just to become pure lenders. And so they have become cash investors with us ever since the properties were liquidated. And so what that's actually really taught me, and this is something that a lot of you guys might be able to do, especially if that is your situation. Maybe you've got 3 properties, 5 properties, 8 properties, 12 properties under your belt at this point, and you're asset rich, and maybe from a cash flow perspective, not so great, and it's eating up a lot of your time. So then you can start to exercise your exit strategy. What that means is every single property, you can now create higher cash flow for yourself, leveraging the lease option strategy if you like to, especially if these are all single family homes. If not, you can do a straight up sale. Okay, so whatever the case may be, the point that I'm looking to make with you today is free up capital. And this is something that we discussed and had a boot camp on with the Trust Your Talent team back in July as well, which is private lending. It's private lending. So what that really means is very simple, is that if you are able to free up that cash and that allows you to actually have the lifestyle that you want, not have to worry about landlording, that is awesome. Because what's gonna happen now is, for example, if you actually end up freeing up, okay, usually in this situation, you've actually got some capital built already. So it depends on the market that you're in. In some markets that I've seen across Canada right now, if you sell, let's just say, maybe 5 to 10 properties, you can probably recuperate anywhere between $2 to $4 million, hypothetically, for example. Okay, again, depending on how long you've owned them for and the tax implications. I'm not even going to go into the tax implications with you here, so I'm just going to take the lower end of this. Okay, so assuming that in total you free up $2 million in capital because you got the equity, you were asset rich, it's just that not all of them are actually performing to your liking or to really your financial goals. So at $2 million, let's just say that at a simple rate of 12%, for example, okay? Sometimes you'll lend it out at 6, 7, 8, 9, depending on what the projects that you're doing and your own risk tolerance, okay? Sometimes you might be able to rent it out at 15, 16, 17. Doesn't matter. It all depends on the deal and how you assess them and if you're comfortable with parking your money in there. So we're just gonna, once again, do a happy medium right here. So $2 million at 12% per year, that is $240,000 a year. That is $240,000 a year. And you divide that by 12 months, that's $20,000 a month coming in. So think about that. And so some of you guys are now going to be like, okay, sure, I got about 3 properties, and even if I sold all of them, and after paying capital gain taxes or whatever taxes that you have to pay, I only have about $500,000 in my pocket, for example, okay? Well, then let's do the same math. Let's not be greedy. This will give you $60,000 a year, which is what? Divided by 12 months, $5,000 a month. And as we said earlier when we started this whole topic, 5 ways to achieve financial freedom in 5 years or less, I already discussed the fact that we're going to use $5,000 a month in order for you to achieve financial freedom, as long as you can create that passive income. And here we are. And so again, there's a lot of different ways of looking at this. Today, the main concept is not private lending, rather control without owning. Because funny enough, one of the biggest questions that people like to ask all the time, especially when they find out that I've been investing in real estate for over a decade now, is how many properties do you own? Well, what does it matter? Because I'm going to tell you, honestly though, the wealthiest people that I know in my life, their goal actually is never really to own anything. Because the moment you own something and people know that you are quite, let's say, you're doing quite well financially, you automatically put a bit of a target right on your back. And that's not something that you want nor anybody wants, okay? So think about it, control without owning. So by lending the money out into other projects, into other properties, your money is still secured by the hard asset that is real estate itself. And you will have, well, you will need actually the knowledge and experience to actually evaluate every single opportunity that comes your way so that you can actually lend out your money and still be able to sleep at night. And more importantly, make the return that you're looking to make sure that your lifestyle is there. Hi there. Oh, I see a real life wave. Thank you so much. I know it doesn't really happen a lot. Thanks for joining me. I think Lang Yin. So in any case, that's the point that I want to share with you today, which is control without owning, leveraging private lending as a concept, and more importantly, it's okay to let go of some of the equity that you have built up, because if you're stressing over having to take on landlording, then that's not exactly great, is it? So with that said, today is part 6. Tomorrow I'm going to build upon this concept and go into maybe 6.1 a little bit to really share with you what this could look like for some of you as well. So thank you so very much once again, and I appreciate you saying hi and your comments, your encouragement, and all the amazing messages and suggestions that you've given me. And the one thing that I really, really do ask you to help me out with now though is the fact that I know the videos have been shared quite a few times, and at some point apparently I got flagged, or the videos got flagged and got blocked by some of the groups. And so if you are finding this, and I'm hoping that you do, because your support means a lot to me, and I know you tell me that you're supporting the content. And so if you can continue to help me share my videos, share my message, share the content and the knowledge and the experience, I am forever and eternally grateful for that. So once again, thank you very much for joining me today. I will see you back here tomorrow, and have a great evening. Live well, everybody.